Most divers will never see what lurks below 40 meters. Too deep, too dark, too technical. But hidden in the depths of the Saanich Inlet are living structures hundreds of years old. And I'm going back to tech diving to find them. Hey adventurers, and welcome back to BC Adventures. I'm Ryan Swan, and today we're chasing something most divers will never see: cloud sponges. Ancient, rare, fragile. Hidden in the deep waters of British Columbia's coast, I've been hunting for them for months, shore diving up and down the Saanich Inlet, staying within recreational depths and no decompression limits. Every time, I came up empty. No sponges, no sign, just more questions. Because cloud sponges don't like the shallows. They live deeper, darker, often well beyond what recreational diving will safely allow. So if I was going to find them, I had to change the plan. Going deeper, staying longer, getting back into technical diving. So I called my old tech instructor, Brian Kilback. He knew exactly where to send me, Christmas Point. But there was one catch. I hadn't done a tech dive in years. So before I could go deep, I had to go back to the basics. This is Wilson's Diving in Colwood, BC. If you want to get into technical diving, training, gas blending, even renting the gear you need, this is where you start. I haven't done a tech dive in years. The skills are there, somewhere, but they've been sleeping for a long time. And today, that changes. Because if I'm going to find those cloud sponges, I can't stay in my comfort zone. I can't dive the way that I've always dived. I need to switch my brain back into technical mode. What happens next will decide if I'm ready to take that plunge. Because when what you're chasing lives where the light runs out, you have to decide how far you're willing to go. Alright, day one, training day. My dive team, Monica Moez, one of my best dive buddies. We did Tech 40 together years ago, and Brian Kilback, our instructor from Back Tech Diving. Today, the goal is an exploration. It's drills, muscle memory, making sure I can handle an emergency at depth. We drop in. Every kick takes us further from the surface and closer to the kind of depth where mistakes matter. This is where you find out if your head is really in the game. We're not just dropping down and popping back up, we're running a full deco profile. Stops, timing, discipline, because on a real dive, there's no good enough when it comes to decompression. Now we simulate one of the worst case scenarios, a valve failure at depth. I reach back, shut it down, isolate, reopen, all while staying calm and in trim. If this feels clumsy here in training, it'll be chaos on a real tech dive. We'd run the S drill, and for a few breaths, our lives are literally tied to the same plan. Then it's all about the deco bottle. On, off, clipped, unclipped. Because if this gets messy at depth, the clock starts ticking a lot faster. Finally, I send up a DSMB, that bright orange thread between us and the surface. It looks simple, but it's a hazard if you're not careful. SMBs are critical when you don't have a mooring line to deco on and you need a reference. They're also how you tell a boat exactly where you are underwater, and that matters when there's boat traffic overhead. We finished the dive hovering perfectly still. 3 divers frozen in the water column, like we're hanging in mid-air. Valve drills, S drills, deco practice. It wasn't pretty at first, but by the end of that dive, the rust was finally starting to crack. Today proved that I can still do this. But the real question is now, can I do this when there's more on the line than just a practice dive? Day 2. Time to explore. Drills are done. Yesterday was all about muscle memory. Today, we get to dive the way tech diving is meant to be done, going deeper, staying longer, and seeing things most people never will. This isn't about finding cloud sponges yet. It's about finding out if I'm ready to go after them. And that's where Brian Kilback comes in. So for people who've done some recreational scuba diving and are thinking about going into tech diving, or maybe they're not, maybe they're kind of like, well, I don't need to go any deeper, I'm quite comfortable with this level. What sort of experiences or marine life could they see underwater that maybe technical diving can open that up for those scuba divers.
Yeah, I think that it doesn't need to be about depth. It could be just wanting to stay somewhere for a little bit longer, or it could be like just wanting to sharpen your skills. I mean, we don't have to go down to 200 feet. It could be just wanting to work on buoyancy and trim, fin kicking, working on the different types of fin kicking techniques that you don't generally learn in your open water course. It could be any of that stuff. But I think like a good example is our wrecks in Nanaimo. Like they're within recreational limits, but they're deep enough that even on nitrox, you got a very limited time there. With technical courses, you're going to get the tools and the knowledge to be able to stay down there for 40, 50, 60, 70 minutes. And let's just do some decompression. So you're not going any deeper than 100 feet or 130 feet. You're just going to do a little bit of decompression now so you stay. So I think that's the kind of way I talk to people in the courses, is that some people want the depth, but some people just want to be able to stay at recreational depths longer. And so I think that you can kind of get both of those out of the course.
There's something about tech diving that feels different. It's not rushed, it's not shallow, you move with intention, every breath matters, every minute is planned, and when you get it right, it almost feels like slow motion. You're just locked in with your team, and the rest of the world disappears. We didn't find the cloud sponges, but that wasn't the point of the dive. What we did get was more important: confidence, rhythm, and that feeling that the team was working as one. And that's exactly what we're going to need for what comes next. Because the next dive isn't another training dive. It's where the real search begins. And if we're wrong about what's down there, we're about to find out the hard way. Day 3, Charter Day. So we're here at Brentwood Bay Marina, and we're about to embark in a dive charter to Christmas Point. Christmas Point is in the Saanich Inlet, and today we're doing a technical dive. My team for today: Nash, Joel, and Brian Kilback. Today we're heading to the heart of Saanich Inlet, Christmas Point. One more dive, one more chance. The inlet is calm. The sun is rising, and somewhere below us, the sponges are waiting. The Saanich Inlet is special. It's a fjord, deep, steep-walled, and protected. The perfect place for creatures that thrive in the cold, dark, stable depths. We drop in, and at 20 meters, the green starts to fade. At 30, it's like swimming down a dim hallway. By 40 meters, it feels like midnight in the middle of the day. And then, the wall appears out of the dark. Cloud sponges. Not a rumor, not a photo, the real thing. Hanging off the rock in front of us. They're a type of glass sponge. They pull silica from the water and turn it into tiny glass needles, stitching them into a skeleton of pure glass. Each one is a living filter, pumping thousands of liters of seawater through itself every day. They grow slowly, centimeter by centimeter, which means some of these big ones could easily be older than Canada itself. 200 years of growth, and one bad fin kick could wipe out decades in a second. So we don't touch. We don't even get close. We just hover in the dark and watch them breathe the inlet in and out. This isn't a coral reef exploration of color. It's quieter, stranger. This is patience turned into living architecture. For a few minutes at 40 meters, we're the only people on Earth looking at this exact wall of sponges. Everything is cold, everything is silent, except our bubbles and our computers, counting down our decompression. But we can't stay. The ocean doesn't give you forever with places like this. It gives you moments. And as we leave the wall and start our ascent, all I can think is, if this is what we found on our first real shot at 40 meters, what else is still hiding out there, just beyond where most divers will ever go? We leave the wall behind and start our ascent. We hit our first decompression stop and the whole dive shifts gears. No more exploring, just holding position, watching the clock and trusting the plan. Seeing those cloud sponges changed something for me. This wasn't just getting back into tech diving anymore. It felt like the start of a whole new chapter. And now that I know what's really hiding at 40 meters, I can't help wonder what's waiting even deeper. For most people, diving is about what you see. For tech divers, it's all about what you're willing to do to get there. The planning, the discipline, the risks you manage so you can safely visit places like that wall. You trade comfort for time and access, and in return, the ocean shows you something almost no one will ever see. After we filmed this video, I didn't stop there. I signed up for my Tech 45 course with Brian through Wilson's Diving. More training, more depth, more discipline. And for our graduation dive, we went back to Christmas Point. Same wall, but that time, we went even deeper. And we'll see you next time when we take a deep dive on BC Adventures. Hey adventurers, and welcome back to BC Adventures. I'm Ryan Swan, and today we've got Brian Kilback from Back Tech Diving, and we're all about tech diving today. How long have you been scuba diving and technical diving, and when did you start Back Tech Diving?
I think I started diving about 15 years ago, and maybe a couple years after that I got into technical diving. And back tech was just kind of a fun thing to do. I just thought it'd be fun to do something where we could like do some merch and, you know,
Cool.
Do something special for the students, give them a hoodie or something like that, right? So just kind of a fun thing.
Nice, yeah. These are pretty cool sweaters too. I mean, you got a logo on the back too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, these are pretty awesome. So the other thing is with technical diving is you can get down into some of these depths where some of these interesting creatures that aren't in the shallows, maybe they grow in a lot, grow a lot bigger, a lot more prolific in some of these sites, like the cloud sponges or the glass sponges or some of these Gorgonian corals. I mean, there's actually here at Henderson, you can't see, but over there is Saanich Island is supposed to be an amazing spot to see cloud sponges. And we're actually going in a couple weeks to Christmas Point to see some cloud sponges and do some technical diving there too. So with those in mind, like technical diving kind of opens up an opportunity to see these types of creatures that you can't normally, well, I think you can see them recreational diving, but what's the benefit of going with technical diving with that?
Yeah, I think technical diving is many different things, and it can be, again, working on your skills because it's something we always practice. We'll have some training dives within courses that are 3 hours long, sitting in 20 feet of water, and we're just working on valve drills and S drills and going through that. Some people like that kind of stuff, right? Like the training aspect of it.
Yep.
So we're always doing that. And then, there is, the other part of it is going deeper to see certain things. And around here, like you said, glass sponges and stuff like that, we have access to. Recreational divers might not have access to them. Gorgonian corals. In technical diving, you can get a little bit deeper, and as you get deeper, they generally get a little bit bigger. Wrecks and stuff like that, some wrecks are sitting a little bit too deep for recreational, and that's all over the world, and that's not maybe specific to here, but there are some amazing wrecks around the world that are well beyond recreational limits. And so a lot of people train, take courses because they have that bucket list wreck they want to dive and they want to see. You got Chuck Lagoon and Bikini Atoll and Scapa Flow in Scotland. There's tons of places that have these that are hard to get to and take a lot of training to get there. And so I think a lot of people have different reasons why they're doing the technical stuff, but I think it certainly opens up access to stuff that you might not have before with a single tank on your back. And now that rebreathers are getting a lot more popular and stuff like that, that's kind of changing the industry a little bit. Yeah, and like when you're doing photography or anything like that underwater, it might not be that you want to go deep, but maybe you're shooting cloud sponges or something like that, and maybe you only got 10 minutes down there. But technical diving can open that up to 50, 60, 70, 80 minutes maybe, right? And so now you're not as pressured to get that shot. You can work a little bit more on the quality of it rather than just getting down there and snapping something and then, seeing it afterwards and going like,
Technical diving also opens up opportunities into some of these specialty courses that you've put on. And I think like something that's really popular that you're doing right now is the wreck penetration courses.
PADI offers like the very basic rec penetration course, but I wanted to create something that would train even recreational divers to be able to safely go inside of a wreck using a reel. So I wrote my own course and submitted it, and then they approved it. Now we offer it to recreational divers and technical divers. So you can do it in doubles if you wanted, or you could do it in single tank. We generally do it up in Nanaimo on the Saskatchewan, and we do some training around here in Henderson before that. So usually it's like three days kind of thing, and so it's like one day here practicing techniques with the reel, so some dry land stuff, and then some in water, and then we go up to Nanaimo and we dive 2 dives in Saskatchewan, and then we go back on the Sunday and we do another 2 days on Saskatchewan. We also offer an advanced rec course, which is more geared towards technical divers. So you need to have some technical courses completed. It's a little bit more in depth. We're doing drills and failures inside the wreck and learning how to work through those safely and stuff like that. Whereas the first rec course is just more geared towards getting to, use a reel and do that kind of just basic stuff, right?
For somebody who's wanting to get into tech diving or just thinking about it, what type of advice or insight would you offer them when taking that leap into technical diving?
I would say that take a couple courses before you do it, and work on your buoyancy and your trim. At least have a good grasp on your buoyancy before you kind of venture into the technical side of things. I think a big one is do your research and talk to different instructors locally. Interview the instructors and talk to them, ask what their experience is, what types of dives they do, ask about their courses and how they teach their courses. I think that, maybe not so much now, but a lot in the past, people got very held up on, the certifying agency. Beyond that, it needs to be the instructor and the relationship you have with them, and what they're giving you for what you're paying is, aligns with what you're looking to do. Some instructors may focus more on a lot of in-water skills or maybe theory, right? So ask them, are they doing technical dives? Are they out there doing the dives? And make sure that relationship is something that's going to work for you.
And we'll see you next time on
BC Adventures.